special guest at the second annual Fan Fest. His name's Joe Theismann. Maybe you've heard of him. He's going to join Chad Dukes for Chad Dukes versus the World today. He'll be on at 2:45 on 106.7 The Fan.
Well, you know he's going to ask him all about Marcus Mariota. We'll get his latest thoughts on RG3.
Right.
Love it.
Yep.
Love hearing from Joe T.
Joe Theismann on 106.7 The Fan today with Chad Dukes at 2:45 p.m.
Now, you know, we've been discussing the general manager situation here and the draft situation with the Redskins of late. With Marcus Mariota there, John Clayton reporting that if the Redskins are still at 5 and Mariota's available, he swears it'll take him. And we've been kind of debating the merits of that, if that's true, if we like it or not.
If he's even available.
Right. And then at the end of the day, we always just have to just sort of back off. And I think we all agree that if you're a Redskins fan, at the end of the day, you just have to just bow to McCloughan and his reputation.
Yep, he's the expert.
But that is really, I mean, we look at the draft history and we know he's very highly regarded. But when the National Football Post comes out with something like they have today, where they actually have some sort of stats to back up why he's so highly thought of, it really makes you feel good.
So they dive into the draft history.
They've done that, and what they've done is they've come out with a table here, and they've ranked all of the current NFL general managers. Now, McCloughan's only been here a couple months, but he gets credit for his 5 years as a GM previously with the 49ers, where he's actually the GM? And what they've done is they've looked at each general manager and each of their drafts. And let's say, for example, the example they use in the article is Frank Gore. And Frank Gore was picked wherever he was in the draft, okay? I think he was a little later because he was coming off the injury. And so what they've analyzed is, let's just say, for example, Frank Gore, and forgive me because I don't know this exactly. Let's say he was the 33rd pick in the draft. They look on average and say, okay, the 33rd pick in the draft will start on average, let's say, 12 games a year for 4 years or whatever. And then they look at what Frank Gore actually did. And if he surpasses that, then you get credit for the surplus number of games.
He was the 65th pick in the draft,
65th
third
pick.
round in
Okay.
05.
All right. And so I think if you want to get the actual details on Gore, let me see. So he was the 65th pick. He could have started a maximum of 160 games over 10 years. He actually started 134. The average for a player selected there is 58 games. So his surplus is 76.
He's
He
more than doubled
exceeded
it.
expectations by 76 games. So presumably, that's a home run pick, okay?
Absolutely.
So what they've done is for each general manager, they looked at their draft picks and whether or not they exceeded or did not meet expectations in terms of number of games started. And when they do that, they've come up with a number called the average annual surplus.
I don't know that.
And the number one ranked general manager of current general managers is your Washington Redskins general manager, Scot McCloughan.
Number one.
Number two, and it's interesting because when you look at the rankings, number two, John Schneider.
Number two.
The genius over there in Seattle. Ozzie Newsome comes up top 4 with the Ravens.
Who's at the bottom of the pile?
Well, the bottom of the pile, they have, well, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. The guy from the Jets who is unrated. Mike McCannon. I'm not sure exactly how you say his name.
Okay.
They have Jerry Reese at the bottom. They actually have John Elway. Third from the bottom. Steve Keim from the Cardinals. Pete Brown from the Bengals. What's very interesting is they have ranked guys that are not in the league right now, former GMs, at the bottom. The worst in the ranking, shocker, Matt Millen, who I love on the show. His average annual surplus was negative 102.
I don't know that.
Yeah, because he had high draft choices that were busts.
Third and fourth worst in their rankings, Vinny Serrato and Bruce Allen.
I don't know that. I don't know that.
So
You
you
don't
want
know
to
a
talk
lot.
about an organization that's upgraded as good as you possibly can. It's the Washington
Well, the
Redskins.
Redskins have dominated both ends of the spectrum because
Yeah.
McCloughan's one now. A guy that used to work here, John Schneider, who's out in Seattle,
Right.
was number 2. And they've got Vinny and Bruce
They
Allen
have-
bringing up the rear.
They have literally gone from worst to first
Yes.
I don't know that.
in this hire. So if Scot McCloughan wants Mariota, Winston, Scherf. It doesn't matter.
If he wants to take Amari Cooper, if he's
Right.
sitting there at 5, you know what? You bow down to him.
Landon Collins, fine. Whatever that dude wants, I'm all in with him.
Now, he's missed
I'm
on some.
buying in.
You hope that the track
course.
record continues.
You're not
because
going
I
to have
know
a perfect record in the
he was
NFL
pivotal
draft.
in the Alex Smith draft choice. Now, the Alex Smith draft choice, he started a ton. It just, for a number 1 draft choice, number 1 pick overall,
You know what?
you would expect a little bit more.
True, but it hasn't been a terrible pick.
Right.
Because there have been a lot of number 1 overall picks, quarterbacks especially, that have been gigantic flameouts that haven't had 1/10 of the career Alex Smith has had.
Yeah, you're right. And
And
actually,
he'll probably play another 4 or 5
the
years in
Alex
the league.
Smith pick probably works in his favor using that statistical model where they break down the expected
Because so
number
many
of
picks
games.
bomb out.
Because Alex Smith has played a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, he started.
Again, number 1 on their list, if you evaluate it based on number of games played versus number expected for these draft picks. Now, it's strictly grading drafts. It's not grading free agency signings. If it was grading free agency signings, Serrato and Allen would be even worse.
I don't know that.
This gets me sized.
It's the reason why Vinny Serrato's doing radio in Baltimore now and not picking players for NFL teams any longer.
It's so easy to get you psyched.
This gets me
This
sized.
is what happens.
What's
about
one
The
thing?
only thing that would get you more excited is if Rick Barnes were his co-GM. That's the only thing that would get you more excited.
I'm all about Rick Barnes.
But
How
how
do you
many-
get to 16 out of 17
You're
tournaments
so
and get
about
fired?
Rick
How many
Barnes.
times
and he
a
did
year,
make,
though?
Apparently, he did make a Final Four. Wiki, big surprise, wrong. Made it in 03.
Can you
Yeah, he
play,
did make
can,
it.
Yeah.
Can you play the Redskins song for
Oh,
him?
I'm sorry.
Can't you tell what Valdez is
No,
doing?
I can't. Just because that mutant sitting 2 feet from me has his hands going crazy, I can't tell what he wants.
That was him
Hold on.
conducting.
I want to hear from Skins fans, though. Does this get you sauced like it does your boy?
But you get so
It's
psyched.
one thing. Hold on. It's one thing to have everybody say, "Oh yeah, he's silly, he's silly," but they've actually now you got something tangible here. Like they've got like a real number.
You got psyched when RG3 was running sprints and it was all in for week 1.
I was wrong.
Now you're sized.
Yeah, that music gets me sized, but not as sized as that statistical analysis where they broke it down. With Neil Greenbergs of the world get sized.
I think it's great to hear. The problem is,
Come on,
none of
Neil, you
that
know
is
you get
with the
sized for that.
Redskins.
What?
so you're just going to have to, it's something that's going to play out over the course of time. It takes
EB
years.
wants McCloughan to wave the magic wand to spread the pixie dust over the Skins like he did with the Niners and the Seahawks.
I dubbed RG3 our Jesus, right?
Well,
That blew
you're-
up in my face.
Yeah, you're going back on that.
We need something for McCloughan.
Moses McCloughan.
Moses McCloughan. We need to come up with something. We need a biblical reference for Scot McCloughan.
By the way, I go with McCloughan.
I got one.
Cakes is all in on the McGloughan pronunciation. I've
It's
noticed that.
it's
over the last
McCloughan,
few
right?
weeks.
McCloughan, I don't know. Who cares? Scott
Whatever.
McCloughan.
McCloughan.
Just say it fast. Nobody knows what you're saying.
I don't know.
Scott
if it's-
McCloughan.
You know what? I don't. That
He
one
goes McGloughan
Here,
all the time.
I don't even
Like
know.
Magoo.
Drab was killing me the other day.
I think it's
because
Scott McCloughan.
Drab is, an Oregon fan. He thinks if you say Mariota that you're a donk because it's Mariota. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to pronounce anybody's name anymore.
What's your biblical name? Or
God.
Just call him God.
Just call him God.
I mean, I don't know. Somebody help me here with this. This gets me sized because this is not just some jerk saying, oh, he's great, we like him, he's a drinking buddy. This is actual, wow, look at the draft history. He's outperforming every other guy in the league. And then, oh, by the way, just to give the stats some validity, two of the worst of all time are Vinny and Bruce.
I didn't know you were new king of the analytics over there. You'd be hanging out with
really
JP.
care. When they help my cause, I like them.
Yeah, of course.
Right? I'm like everybody else. If it helps
When it-
my argument,
right, when
I'm
it-
all about it.
Right, when it bolsters your argument, they're good.
I mean, come on.
Well, he certainly has a great track record. And so it should give you confidence, I think, if you're a Redskins fan, if you believe the owner is going
And
to
that's
stay
not
out
just
of it.
reputation. That's not just drinking buddy stuff. That's real analysis of how his draft picks have performed.
You're that nerd.
He's silly.
So based
He's
on
actually
that,
sillier than Ozzy, John Schneider, and
He's
all
number
those other
one.
donks.
He's the one.
Silly Scott.
You know what?
Silly Scott McCloughan.
No, here's his name. Just call him Kentucky. He's the 1 seed.
He's the one
It's
seed.
Kentucky.
you guys are searching so hard for a good
Yeah, I
nickname.
don't
need
know.
help.
I don't know what
We
I
need
would
help.
Call him
You know what?
Kentucky.
I'm in a state of delirium because it's so hot in
That's
here.
such a reach. Call him Kentucky.
It just gets me sized.
So
I like
based
it.
on that,
It's not just good old boy
okay,
stuff.
look. Based on that, if he does end up drafting Marcus Mariota,
Exactly. It's all
you'll
good.
back off and say, genius move.
Brilliant pick.
Whatever he does, I'm all in. Now, of course,
Just
it doesn't mean
Just
it
get a
doesn't-
big vat of Kool-Aid,
It
put
doesn't
McCloughan's
mean-
face on it, and start drinking it.
It doesn't mean that he's not going to miss. Of course he's going to miss. He's going to miss less and he's going to hit more than everybody else based on his track record. I like it. Does Grant want to chime in on it?
Well, Grant definitely chimed in with Valdez with his wardrobe pick of the day, wearing a lot of orange and black for the Orioles. I see that.
Has he? Grant's been exposed as a public Orioles fan, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
obvious, right?
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He hasn't
Okay.
had any issues being
right.
forthcoming with that.
All right, let's bang out some of these calls. Are you sized? Does that turn you on? Like it turns me on.
Should we bring back the I Get Size segment?
No, absolutely not. He's not that size.
I think we only did
Yeah,
that
that's too
once
much
in the
work.
history of the show.
Who's on hold? Is
Size.
that somebody that we know?
That's for Grant. And
Oh, it's for
Danny.
Grant. Oh, they're doing an interview. All right, let's go to my man Kel. I know he gets pumped for this.
Hey, well, he's the miggity Mac, baby. He's the miggity Mac. McCloughan make me wanna jump. Ha-ha. Hey, EB.
Yes, sir.
Guess what, baby?
Yeah.
We finally got a number one, somebody who know what they doing and statistically has proven himself that he handling business. You understand what I'm saying? Ha. How about them damn Redskins, baby?
Thank you,
Yes,
Kel.
sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's what I like about it. It's not just talk. It's not just good old boy stuff. He's got a track record. His track record is he's going to outperform you in the draft. I love that. And I knew it, but it's nice when you see it backed up by data and not just by, he's pretty good. Here are some of his guys that he hit on. When you actually look at all of them, he's better than everybody else. He can do no wrong.
Draft is April 30th, so we're less than a month away. Of course, McCloughan said, just because it's a quarterback sitting there at number 5 and say it is, and that's the best player available, then we're going with it.
He's better than Ozzie. He's better at the draft than Jerry Jones, Thomas Dimitroff, Phil Emery, Martin Mayhew, Ted Thompson.
Well, I would have to hope McCloughan could have a lobotomy and be better than Jerry Jones at the draft. Are you kidding?
Jerry Jones is fairly high.
Nah.
Jerry Jones is in the top 10. How his draft pick, and that's over 10 years. Jerry Jones is in the top 10, Cakes.
Playoff team
That's kinda
Cakes, a lot of
shocking.
draft choices have worked out of late.
People Jones.
The Zach Martins of the world have worked
Yeah.
out.
Begrudgingly, he's made some good picks lately.
Des Bryant's kind of worked out.
Yeah.
And to me, it just gets all the more valid when you look at the bottom tier, the ex-GMs that they've
When you
ranked.
see Vinny and Bruce Allen at the bottom.
Oh, my guys.
they're actually surpassed only by Matt Millen. And
Can
again,
you give me the comments on Bruce Allen?
I don't see any. There are no comments.
Oh, there are no comments. So it's
They're just that. They're put it this way. They're in a negative. So
Yeah.
all of their picks on average, and this is by the way annually.
They don't have a
so
surplus.
annually, every single year, their players do worse than what's expected at that position.
Those guys are annually working on a deficit
Well, I believe
instead of
when-
a surplus.
Not to defend Mike Shannon, but I believe
They're horrible.
when Mike Shanahan showed up and he cut guys, none of the guys that he cut that were members of the team the year before
Right.
landed anywhere
Well,
else.
that's because the guys he was cutting were guys like Larry Johnson and Joey Galloway. I mean, guys on
no, but he
at
cut
the end of
guys
their
who were
career.
drafted by the Redskins.
This gets me psyched.
Yeah, it does.
I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't care if they draft Mariota. I don't care if they draft the offensive lineman from Hobart. I don't care.
You're in.
It's,
No matter
it's
what.
money. I got the
You know
best
what?
guy in the draft.
He can do no wrong.
It's proven.
Yes.
You're definitely more psyched for this than the Lady Terps in the Final Four.
Not even close.
I mean, I want the lady. I would like to see the Lady Terps win it all,
Right.
but I probably won't watch.
So if he drafts someone you've never heard of that isn't on anyone's board at number 5, you don't care?
Yes,
well, that's not
because
going to
he's
happen.
got the best track record of anybody in the game.
Just save this
better
audio.
than your guy.
Save this audio because the odds are, just history of the show, that it's not going to work out for this GM.
Trust
it
me,
might.
I'm
You
marking
never
it.
know.
Yeah.
He trounces your guy.
He
Your
could be the
guy's-
savior.
Ozzy's everybody's genius, right? And I'm not disrespecting him, except that my guy's like 3 times better when you look at the
Except
numbers.
his guys won Super Bowls.
It's hard to pick gems when you're picking 28th every year.
Well, no, but they base it on where you're picking. They base it on where he's picking. They're not just saying first round. They're looking at the specific number.
Valdez couldn't be smiling any wider right now. If you go to watchthejunkies.com.
As a Redskins fan, though, if you
when
could
you line
trade,
up Skins trophies and his trophies,
Right.
he's more on my side.
That's true.
yeah, but
Thank you.
they've been in existence a much shorter period of
recency
time.
trophies pummel the history
right.
trophies.
Right.
The Skins
Would
win
you
in the nostalgia
trade-
department.
Would you trade?
We went into total.
Would you
department.
trade the Redskins GM for Ozzie Newsome? If you could just trade execs.
No.
I know the answer. No, he's got tangible evidence
got
that
proof.
points to him being number one.
Mine guy's better. Now, they haven't proved, what I'd like to see, let's do the same thing. I don't know how you do it, but let's do the same thing with free agent signings. You can't do it the exact same way because guys aren't slotted, maybe by salary. I don't know. I don't know how you would do that. I don't know how you would evaluate them.
I think Scott's idea towards free agency is different than most GMs anyways to begin with, because I think what Scott does is he plays the secondary market. So he waits for the big wave to go through and then waits for the price to drop on all of the other free agents who are grasping, then he re-signs them. So
All right,
it's a lot different.
Let's go to Paul, Fredericksburg. Real super quick, Paul.
How's it going?
Hey,
Hey,
Paul.
buddy. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Huh?
You're on the air, stupid.
Huh?
All right, forget it.
Bottom
Forget
line
it.
is, EB gets sized.
This just got me sized. And I officially will not criticize one pick of the draft. All because of this poll right
You're
here.
all in on
all this
McCloughan.
study right here.
All in on McCloughan.
I'm all in on Scott McCloughan. All in on McCloughan.
It's not bad.
We're
It's
getting
not
closer.
terrible.
Moses McCloughan.
That's
Silly
something.
Scott.
Silly Scott McCloughan. Somebody help us.
We're gonna come up with 100 T-shirt ideas that we'll never follow through on.
It's going to be
Tweet me,
just
EB
like
Junkies.
it's going to be just like the Anthony Rendon nickname. It went nowhere.
Boner from Rendoner.
Yeah, it doesn't really
So
catch on.
terrible.
I mean, how are
kinda
you gonna
like
give
it.
that to a 12-year-old kid?
Yeah.
We'll be right back.